All right, let's go ahead and get started. We got a bunch of people on today, so thank you very much for joining us. You're probably looking at a picture of the ACDI building, so we're going to certainly start today by talking a little bit about who ACDI is, what it is, what we do. We'll do this at the beginning of each and every call. I'm going to do these nuts and bolts webinars the second and fourth Thursday of every month, barring any type of holiday. I know the fourth Thursday in November is Thanksgiving. I'm hoping that none of you are working that day. I'm not either, so we're going to go ahead and skip the webinar on that day. I'm going to take a moment and enable everyone to talk. So if you get a notification on your device that you've been unmuted, you can feel free to mute yourself, but you will be able to come off mute and ask a question. Feel free to interject. I would love as much interaction as possible on this webinar today. So often I sit on webinars where I'm just sitting there listening. It's hard for me to pay attention and to keep focus in that environment. So if you want to jump in, ask a question, feel free to do that. Bear with me while I rip through this list and unmute everybody. I know we have a handful of ACDIers on the call today as well. You might find a little bit of feedback. So everyone else is muted. Everyone is unmuted, excuse me. And so first, let's talk about ACDI. So this webinar is designed to show you and give you a platform to learn about all things that ACDI offers. ACDI is the global leader in PaperCut distribution. We're the largest authorized solution center selling PaperCut in the world. We got our start in 1994 selling coin-op devices. If you've ever walked into a library and pumped some coins into a device that was connected to a copier, you've probably put your money in one of our devices. About 13 years ago, we adopted the PaperCut software and have quickly become the global leader with that product. Our support team has also been voted on about the last 5 years in a row as the best software and services provider, as voted on by the Copier Dealer channel. So we've got a little feedback here. I'm going to go ahead and mute a couple folks. There we go. And so we're headquartered out of Benton, Arkansas. You can see that Arkansas flag there hanging in our parking lot. You also can see our ACDI flag. I'm not sure if any of these cars still are in existence. This is an old picture that I pulled from a gallery that we had. I know several of our folks are certainly driving different vehicles at this point. But you can see that we're right downtown Benton. Our building is state-of-the-art and kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. We have about 100 employees that work with us at ACDI, many of them in our HQ here in Benton, as well as remote teams all over the U.S., Canada, and Latin America. So you can rest assured that no matter where you're joining us from today, we do have remote teams close to you or in your local area. 95% of what we do is remote. I join trainings, demos with sales teams all day, every day, usually 5 to 7 meetings a day, remote from my office here in Benton. We also get out in the field and visit our partners, and I'm sure that you've met several of us in person before. We also have pre-sales solutions architects, so an entire engineering team that works with us on the pre-sale side to assist you with conversations regarding implementation, network configuration, cloud solutions, etc. Those teams are always available and at your disposal for any opportunity or sales assistance that you may need. On our post-sale side, we have project coordinators, post-sale engineers that handle the installation of the software. We have integrations engineers, guys who just build third-party integrations with whatever billing softwares may be needed for your clients in order to do client build back or to sync those PaperCut reports with that third-party billing software. We also have a large support team, several of them here in Benton and then all over the U.S., Canada, and Latin America that assists with day-to-day support calls, emails, remote-in support for your clients as they get in and start playing with the software, as they need to do upgrades, as they need to help with some troubleshooting or customization or configuration. All of those folks are available at your disposal throughout the day here at ACDI. And we're going to walk through our website here in a moment, and I'll show you just a couple different ways that you can engage those folks. So this is our new and improved PaperCut website. If you've been on it, Thank you for checking it out. If you haven't, it's still at the same domain, acd-inc.com. You'll see if you've been on before that it has a very different look and feel. For our reseller partners, you may focus in on this reseller toolbox. On this tab here, you're going to find a ton of useful information. You can request a quote through our quoting portal. You can request a free 40-day trial of PaperCut. You also can request a demo. So if you're in the field, if you have a customer that would like to schedule a demo, you can contact your ACDI sales rep or just log onto our website and fill out this demo request form. And one of our sales folks will quickly get in touch with you. You can also request the PaperCut Hive trial. If anyone is not a reseller on this call, you can become one here. Any card analysis for proximity or key swipe cards that you may be working with in the field, you can fill out this card, send us one in, and we can test it. And not only can we advise you on the most compatible card reader for that opportunity, but also get them pre-configured before we ship them out to you in the field. That way, when you receive them, take them out of the box, they're plug and play. You also find access to the PaperCut Partner Portal here. This is another really great tool that you can access that has sales and technical training, several pieces of collateral designed just by PaperCut, as well as some compatible devices, ways to download NFRs, lots of information here as well. Going back to our homepage, I did mention our support team. Our support team is wonderful, and all the ways that you can connect with them is right here under our support tab. You'll be able to see all of the things that are included with your support, but also all the ways that you can get in touch. So our 24/7 software support, our online support portal, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, installation services, hardware support, the whole works. Emails, phone numbers. You'll always be able to get in contact with us very, very simply. And then on to our main topic for today. The second Thursday of every month, we'll be focused on our flagship product, PaperCut MS. It is the global leader in print management. Other print management softwares aspire to be like it, and we're still leading the way over and over again. It was designed for education, and we found that it has just exploded and taken off in every other vertical market. So right here on the homepage of our website, you can dive into some of these vertical markets: education, healthcare, legal, real estate, enterprise. You also can look at key feature sets for accountability, security, cost savings, accessibility. All of these things, like just by clicking on them on our website, will lead you into tons of information. You may have found a poll when you joined today that asked if you would drive a car without a dashboard. I don't think anybody said yes, but I haven't looked at the results here in a couple minutes. If you want to find out why we asked that question, after the call today, take a look at this video. PaperCut provides your customers with that interactive, easy to use, easy to understand, easy to configure dashboard for all of their prints, copy, scan, and faxing needs. Another really great tool, we're going to jump away from our website here for a moment, and we're going to look at the PaperCut knowledge base. Highlighted here, and will be sent out to everyone after the call, along with our website and the demo site that we're going to take a look at today. I'll send you lots of pieces of information after the call. But papercut.com/KB is the PaperCut knowledge base. You can search any topic you want, from system requirements to ROI calculator, payment gateways, print deploy, mobility print. You can ask any question in the search box. And what I'm going to focus in on today is this Find My MFP. Under this first header here, copy or tracking and control, you're going to find every make and manufacturer of device. Underneath these tabs, just to pick one for example, I'm going to start just at the bottom here. I know this one works good. There's videos, walkthroughs of every OEM. There is tons of information along with supported models and information about those models for every OEM of device. So regardless of the platform and the devices that you're selling, you can rest assured that PaperCut has a solution that will easily meet your needs. Coming back to this front page here, this interface is the PaperCut interface on the glass of the MFP. So every time I'm showing a demo, we'll start with this page here and then just lead into the OEM that we're demonstrating for the customer. This will show them all the ways that they can log in to their MFP, whether it's with a PIN number, a username and password, a proximity card, a key fob. We even can do, ACDI sells biometric fingerprint readers. So if people don't want the hassle of carrying around a key fob or a proximity card, most people are never going to walk up to a copier without their finger. If they do, they may not really be worried about their print jobs. Jumping in here, we're going to do a high-level overview of what the software looks like, what it entails, what it involves in configuring it. We'll talk about how highlight some features for different vertical markets, and this will usually run about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm happy to answer any questions as they come up as well, but keep in mind that the first thing that everyone notices about this is all this green here. All of this is customizable. Your customers can brand this to be whatever colors, graphics. If you have any logo they want here to remove PaperCut MF, really just make it look like it's part of their network. This website's demo.papercut.com. You can log in here with the username admin, password, all lowercase, and you can't break it. So you can come in here, you can make all kinds of changes, try some stuff out. When you log out, log back in, it all goes back to normal. When you log in here, for those who have never seen PaperCut before, this is going to give you a clean overview of your last 30 days of printing, right here in a graph. It's going to show you all of the devices that you have in your environment. It's going to show you if those devices have low toner, they're offline, they're out of paper. If there are no error messages on those devices, they're just going to show you how many pages they printed today. Down below here, you're also going to see real-time activity. Who's logging into the dashboard, who's logging into the devices, who's printing to them, making copies, just in real time, running tally throughout the day. PaperCut puts out about 4 to 6 upgrades to the software every year. They're constantly adding new features. When Microsoft or Apple comes out with updates, they often will just put out a new version of the software to just coincide with those releases to make sure that everything is copacetic, everything works well. On top of being OEM agnostic, PaperCut is also operating system agnostic. So our mobility print, which was the Google preferred alternative to Google Cloud Print when it went away at the end of 2019, allows us to be able to not only enable printing from any device, but also track, manage, and control that printing from any device, regardless of whether it's a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, a cell phone, whatever device your users are using. And with Windows, Mac, and Chrome operating systems, they also can print from off the network as well to the network. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we get into it. Any organization that has a Go Green initiative loves this environmental impact stuff. It'll show you the numbers of trees, the amount of CO2, the hours running a supermarket. You'll be able to run reports that are super fun on your most green or most polluting employees. I'll show you those as we go. But when we install PaperCut, we can install it on a physical print server or somewhere in the cloud for them. ACDI also offers cloud hosting solutions. And so if your customer does not have the network infrastructure needed to install PaperCut MF, then we could always host it for them. And PaperCut is also licensed perpetually or as a SaaS model. So you have lots of options when it comes to how to purchase and where to install the software. When we get it configured in your environment, we're going to sync with a directory source to pull in all your users. This allows your customers to easily manage all their users from the directory source that they're currently using. Sync with PaperCut to also automatically create those user accounts as the adjustments are made with the directory source. Things like Google Cloud Directory, Azure AD with Secure LDAP. We can even load a custom program if your users are not using a directory source and load in a CSV file with things like your user's full name, their email address, their home directory, maybe a department or office that they may be working in, a card number or ID number, maybe an employee ID number, depending on how they want to authenticate and log into the copiers. Several different ways that we can manage that, and we can even manage 2 systems at the same time if your customers are in the process of migrating maybe from Windows AD to Azure, or if they're just running 2 systems because that's most advantageous for them. Once we create those users, you're going to find them easily under this Users tab. You'll be able to make some cool adjustments here. So if we just pop into one of them here, we can easily enable, disable indefinitely for a week, a month, an hour, any users if we need to. We can easily set quotas for users. We can also do bulk user actions to create quotas for all of your users simultaneously. We can allow for some overdraft if needed, as well as provide this account selection based on the organization's needs. Your law firms really like the advanced account selection. This allows your users to choose from type in a matter code, an account name, choose from a long list, or simply create a top 10 preferred list or a recent selections tab. Easy way to add that account to any print job that they're doing. Again, it doesn't matter if they're printing from their desktop, their laptop, their tablet. They'll be able to use this account selection to choose the matter that print job is for. Same thing on the glass of the MFP. If they walk up to make copies, make scans, or send faxes, they'll be able to associate those functions with an account for bill back later. You can automatically charge to their personal account. Many organizations like this so that they can just track user activity. This will show them that this user is printing this much, all color, no black and white, maybe some duplex, some simplex. We'll look at a lot of that in the reporting tab. You can also do delegated print release. So if you have organizations that need other users to release for different staff members or groups of staff members, you're easily able to assign this user to release for others, whether that is individual users or groups. Down below here, you're also going to be able to put in their PIN numbers, their ID numbers, any proximity or badge numbers that you may need. Users can also self-associate those cards or key fobs on the MFP. The first time they swipe that badge, if PaperCut doesn't recognize them, it'll simply ask them to log in with their existing username and password, and it'll associate that card with that user going forward for the rest of the machines in fleet. I've talked quite a bit about the reporting tab, so let's take a look at that real quick. There are about 85 reports built in here. Largest print users, print, copy, scan, fax breakdowns. This is all just user reports. If we run this as an example, we can set this time frame, last 7 days, yesterday, or just an ad hoc and go all the way back to when we installed PaperCut, whatever time frame you need. But if we pull this up in a PDF, what this is going to show us is a very clean overview of where all of our volume is coming from. You'll see that Sun McClellan is our top user, all color, no grayscale, no duplex, the total pages, the jobs, and the cost. When we install PaperCut, we'll configure a cost structure for reporting for your users based on their recommendations. It may be a simple one cost per page, or a more standard charging scheme which outlines different costs for different paper sizes, color, grayscale, duplex, etc. We can run reports based on the printers. So if you need to see your busiest printers report, we can pull that up in an HTML. Let's pull it up for the last 7 days. You're going to see which devices are doing all your volume. Again, color pages, grayscale, duplex, total pages, jobs, and the cost. Easily identify if one of your single function devices in someone's office is doing the bulk of your work. You might make some adjustments to some printer behavior to reroute jobs away from that single function machine to the more cost-effective MFPs, or just set some limits on it and say, okay, you can print 10-page documents to this device, but anything over that is going to be rerouted to the more cost-effective MFP. Under our Accounts tab, we can even generate invoices. So if your users are billing back their clients for their print, copy, scan, fax usage, you can run invoices that have your header already preloaded on them and easily send those out to your users. You can do it based on it. You can run summary reports. You also can do shared account print, copy, scan, fax invoices, which will give you a one-page invoice for each of your accounts. I mentioned the fun environmental impact reports you can run, so your most green, most polluting employees. Every time I show this to a prospective client, they get a kick out of these most polluting employees reports. It's a very comical and sometimes funny way to send out and make people aware of their printing behavior. Under our Printers tab here, we can make a whole bunch of adjustments. If we choose on a device here, we can first figure out we'll see the toner status. This is just a black and white device. We can configure a charging scheme for this device, maybe one cost per page or a more standard charging scheme. Maybe add a couple line items for envelopes. Once we configure this charging scheme for all these for this one device, we can copy these settings to the rest of the devices in the fleet. Copy them over here. And simply choose the devices that we want to copy the settings to, or we can simply select all and copy those settings to the rest of the fleet. If we jump back here, we can also look at the filters and restrictions that are easily put in place. Once we've identified all the pain points in your environment, as you saw from the reports, all color, no grayscale, no duplex. If we put in some filters and restrictions on this device, we can automatically convert jobs from color to grayscale, from simplex to duplex. We can do that for all users or groups of users. Now all of our students only print in grayscale. Whatever groups we have outlined in our directory source, we can pull in here, so those will already pre-populate for your customer. We can also deny jobs based on a cost or a number of pages, perhaps. Maybe set a maximum copy count to eliminate that fat-fingered extra 9 or extra 0, so you only get 10 pages instead of maybe 100. One of my favorite rules is to deny duplicate print jobs within a certain time frame. This catches those trigger-happy folks that are sending the same print job 4, 5, 6 times. I apologize if anyone on the call likes to do that. But also utilizing the virtual print queue with PaperCut, this will eliminate that same document from showing up in that virtual print queue 4, 5, 6 times. So if we set this time limit to 120 seconds or whatever other time frame you choose, that document will only show up in your hold and release queue once. All of these rules will create a pop-up for your users. Once they hit Control-P or File Print and choose their print attributes, they'll get a pop-up that tells them that their job's been converted, it's been denied based on the cost, or it's been denied because they've already queued it up 3 times prior. It's only going to show up once. We also can put in some fun scripts that allow you to just make suggestions to changes in printer behavior. Perhaps enforce some print policies or go green with environmental warnings. Whatever is advantageous to the organization, you can find a lot of fun stuff already pre-populated here. It's all written in JavaScript, and our post-sale support team is also very good at creating custom scripts if needed for your customers. Routing jobs to cheapest compatible printers. One of my favorite ones here is to spree printing during class time. For organizations that may not be educational, you could also use this to control what times of day folks have access to the copiers. We've heard some horror stories of cleaning staff or janitorial crews coming in after hours and just making thousands of copies on copiers. So this is an easy way to control that. You also can confirm printing emails in color. Everyone prints their emails in color. So if you put this in place, your users will receive a notification that says, please consider canceling this job and reprinting in black and white. You can customize that to say whatever you want. We do have one administrator that has a pop-up that says, would you like to spend your next raise on this color print job? So as cheeky or as serious as the organization would like to or needs to be. PaperCut's integrated scanning is really, really cool and allows you to tailor your scan actions and your scan destinations for each individual user, groups of users, or across an entire organization from one centralized place. Wherever you're accessing this PaperCut dashboard, you're able to configure scan to email, scan to folder, or scan to cloud storage for your users on all of their machines right from one computer, rather than having to set it up on each individual device. We can create emails, folders, cloud storage. There's a long list of cloud storage platforms that we can provide single sign-on for. Users can simply create a token that is verified by an email notification and assign their cloud storage to their PaperCut account so that they don't have to log in each time. They simply log in with their ID badge or their PIN number, choose scan, scan to cloud, and start scanning. New fax connectors are available too. So my demo hasn't quite updated yet, but if your customers are using WriteFax, Xmedia, GoFax as their fax software or system, they oftentimes you'll find those in healthcare. We can create scan actions that are scan to fax functions for those users, so they can easily use this same platform, same user interface to send faxes, access address books for those platforms, and track, manage, and control your faxing and assign access to whoever needs it as well. Under our Enable Printing tab, we are going to look at Print Deploy. Print Deploy is one of the newer features that was released in version 19 of PaperCut, almost 2 years ago, and now hard to believe. This allows you to easily push out print queues across your entire organization easily from one reference computer. So your IT person or your systems administrator can simply create all the necessary print queues for your organization on their desktop, their laptop, clone them, and then publish them to everyone on the network, right, with just a couple clicks. We want to connect them to this. We'll give everyone this Find Me virtual print queue, but perhaps they need a couple direct print queues for these two machines. We'll simply save and deploy it. All of our users are then going to have access to these 3 print queues. We can even set one as the default for the zone. So that's the first one that populates, is that Find Me virtual print queue. For those that are maybe new to PaperCut, that Find Me virtual print queue allows users to walk up to any MFP that is included with this print queue, often any MFP on the network, simply authenticate, find their print jobs, and release them. This locks down that copier. It allows for documents not to just be hanging out on the exit tray. It eliminates the need for a shredder or a recycle bin or a trash can next to every copier. It also helps with compliance issues like things like HIPAA, FERPA, GLBA, any type of compliance depending on the organization that they may need. It cuts down and protects people's personal information. So whether it's a law firm, a real estate agency, a healthcare facility, or a school, doesn't matter. Locking down and controlling who has access to release those print jobs really helps from a protection and security standpoint. We have lots of documentation that you can find on our website about the ways that PaperCut helps secure prints, not only before, during, but also after printing. We can add full-page watermarks, digital signatures to documents. So if folks find documents lying around where they shouldn't be, they can simply look at the documents and determine who printed them. Got off on a little tangent on security there. I apologize. I get super amped up about it. I also drink a ton of coffee, maybe the most highly caffeinated person at ACDI. We also can configure multiple zones for your users. So included with your base licensing with PaperCut is this Everyone zone. If we add on that advanced print enablement pack with Print Deploy, this allows your users to configure as many zones as they need. This allows them to configure multiple locations, maybe multiple floors of buildings, if they want to distribute different print queues to different subsets of users. Perhaps you have an office in Atlanta and an office in LA, and your users in Atlanta don't need to have access to the printers in LA. So you might configure this for floor 1, floor 2, Atlanta, LA, configure an IP address range for your users in Atlanta, or simply choose the user group that is titled Atlanta. Configure the print queues that you want to deploy to them. Maybe this floor 1 maybe just needs the floor 1 print queue. We'll connect that to them, publish it out, still from your systems administrator's device. Same thing for floor 2. What this also allows for is if your users travel from Atlanta to LA, or in this example, floor 1 to floor 2, PaperCut will check back and change the print queues that they have available to them based on their location within your network. PaperCut by default will check back every 15 minutes. But if you are off the network and you connect back, it'll automatically update your print queues to ensure that you always have the right printers available on the network, no matter where in the building you may be. PaperCut's mobility print is also an easy way to deploy out print queues and mobility print queues. We can do email to print if your customers need a way for vendors to print without accessing their network. This is definitely a secure way to just publish an email address that we're monitoring as a print queue. They can email PDF documents that automatically are released from the printer or sent to someone for notification and released by an administrator there as well. Mobility print, again, any operating system, iPhone, Android, whatever device your users need to print from. Google Chromebooks are oftentimes a nightmare for systems administrators or IT folks, especially new schools that are now one-to-one after 2020. PaperCut MF is absolutely the most easy way for your users to manage those Chromebook environments. They're easily able to push the download of the PaperCut app from the Google Store and then enable printing to them all from that one reference computer. Simply publish out the print queue that you want to have them all have access to, set them quotas perhaps, and manage them all from one centralized location. Let's take a look at this Logs tab because it holds a ton of information and a couple of really cool features. So with print archiving is a feature that can be turned on within the software, and if turned on, we'll actually take a snapshot of all the documents that are printed within an organization. It'll also give you all of the data without it being turned on. It's going to show you the date, the user, the device it was printed to, the number of pages, the cost, the name of the document, and all the attributes. But you can also take a snapshot of those documents if you need them for auditing purposes. Underneath your Options tab here, you can simply enable print archiving. And it's going to ask you how long you want to keep the jobs for and to stop if free space on the network falls below a certain number of megabytes. It's designed to not overload the system. And so if you need those or your customer needs those for tracking or auditing of the print jobs that are done in the environment, see if someone's printing something they shouldn't be or mislabeling documents, you're able to easily turn that on and catch all that information. So let's talk about licensing for a little bit. Under this About tab, you're going to find the version of PaperCut you're running, what the build was. You're going to find your support ID. Oftentimes our support team will ask for this support ID when your customers call in for support. They may also ask for their CRN number, which would be on their license file. But they're also down here under license info. They're going to see how many users they have. After 2019, all licenses are device-based with unlimited users, unless you're using a small to medium business bundle pricing with us. Then there is a 100 user or less requirement. But more often than not, your education, your government, your nonprofit, or your standard commercial licensing is all going to come with unlimited users. You're also going to get unlimited site servers that you can, so your customer can install PaperCut on as many servers as they may need. You're going to find your support expiration date here. Your licenses are valid until this. PaperCut support is required for at least 1 year upon the initial purchase of support. The reason your customers would want to renew their support is to, first of all, get access to all the upgrades to the software. I mentioned before that PaperCut puts out about 4 to 6 upgrades to the software each year. And as those become available, if your current customers have current support, they are able to simply upgrade their software to the latest version. They also have phone, email, and remote-in access to our support team on top of the support that they get from you and your team. If your customers call us, there are a couple different levels of support that we offer. Basic support is our upgrades, phone, email support, even remote-in. We'll help them out, get them going. They may have to wait in the queue for a little bit, but we'll certainly get to them as soon as we can. Our support team is super quick, super efficient. We also offer our Plus support, often referred to as our advanced support. Our advanced software maintenance and support package gets your customers first in, first out service with us via phone, email, remote in, all the upgrades, annual dashboard training, where my team will schedule with them upon request a session to go over the new features, talk about the latest builds of PaperCut, do a system health check, make sure your customers are utilizing the software to its fullest potential, and just absolutely loving the product. We also newly are offering 24/7 support for customers that need it. So perhaps your enterprise offices or your enterprise organizations that are 24/7 operating and need that level of support, keep in mind that that's also available for your customers now as well. Once software is renewed, you can easily choose a file here. Just download it on your device, upload it here. All this will update to your new expiration date. Any license add-ons or adjustments that you've made will all be visible here. Easily control and access your system. Let's take a second. Looks like I got a question. Show you what one of these, it says, can you show us what one of those pop-ups looks like? Of course I can. Let me pop this open here. Pull this slide over here. So there's a question back about the pop-ups for when you put rules in place. So if you take a look at this here, this is just a couple examples of what those pop-ups would look like if you had some rules in place that your customers were notified about. So your job's been converted from color to black and white. It's been rerouted to the most cost-effective MFP, or your job's been converted from single-sided to simplex to duplex. Those little pop-ups that show up, you also can configure if you put in scripts that limit the number of pages that someone can do or the number of color pages, they'll get a pop-up that looks very similar to this as well. What I also mentioned was that advanced client pop-up for any customers that are doing bill back. So both of these are included with the licensing and can be configured upon installation. Our standard account selection pop-up is for organizations where folks may be just wearing a couple different hats. Perhaps they're working for accounting and maybe also administrative, and maybe need to just select from a small drop-down menu of a couple different departments that they work in to allocate a print job to a department from their workstation. For the law firms, the architectural firms, all the organizations that are billing back clients for those functions would probably want this advanced account selection pop-up where they can choose from that preferred list. It'll default to recent selections if they're doing multiple jobs for the same client. Simply text searchable, type in the account or the matter code, whichever is easier, or you can queue up multiple print jobs and just apply them all to one account all at the same time. And as we continue to talk about support here, PaperCut Multiverse is a support tool that we offer to all of your customers when we do installation. It is not something that we sell. It's a way that we are offering to proactively support your customers. PaperCut Multiverse allows us to remotely monitor the version of PaperCut that they're running, the health of their network, if devices are offline, if something happens and we're able to fix it for them before they even know there's a problem, we can simply alert them afterwards that we took care of something. So when we do installations for your customers remotely, we do ask them about that, if we can install PaperCut Multiverse for them. There are a lot of customers that have allowed us to install it. There certainly are others that have declined that due to security reasons. Our support engineers and our installations engineers aren't pushy with that. It's simply something that we offer. So if it is something that you want to talk to your customers about on the front end, it is an easy, free add-on and way that we can proactively support your customers even better than we already do. Let's see. Last thing I'm going to talk about today, I usually like to try to wrap these up in about 45 minutes, allow people some time to fill up their coffee cup, maybe hit the restroom before their next call, because I know how busy we are with all of our meetings. So I want to show you the system requirements page. So if you have customers that are digging into PaperCut and want to know all the systems requirements of MF, perhaps everything that is required for it, they can simply pull up the systems requirements page and show the capabilities, the application site server requirements, regardless of what operating system is, all that's noted here. They'll also be able to pull up this port requirements guide to show exactly what ports need to be open on the network for us to install PaperCut. Mobility print server requirements, oftentimes the mobility print is installed on the same application server, but if they're using a different server, this just covers all that. So lots of information in terms of technicals and system requirements available to you there on that link. And then lastly, our ROI calculator is a super great tool and way that you can show your customers how quickly PaperCut will pay for itself. Oftentimes, you can find and you can see either anywhere from like a 15% all the way up to 50, 60% in print cost reduction, depending on how they're utilizing the software, whether they're just tracking it all the way up to setting quotas and absolute definitive limits on how much people can print and copy. I simply input some staff here, the type of organization, the cost per page, average daily usage, and from this you'll find recommendations on the filters and restrictions, 20 to 30%, just tracking, 10 to 20, and then the quotas, I have 30 to 50% reduction in printing here on quotas. You can set the time frame of your contract and run some graphs and some reports that'll show you an estimate of how quickly PaperCut will pay for itself. That's a super fun tool that you can throw in there for them if you have your customers' volumes, print those off those graphs and those reports and show them how much money they could potentially save over some time frame. All that was available on the PaperCut knowledge base. Again, I'll reach out to everyone after the call with a handful of links that I shared today. But I have gotten to the end. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I will hang out for a few minutes if other people want to toss some questions into the Q&A or take themselves off mute and ask a question. I'm open to whatever you guys want to do. And of course, if there are no further questions, I'd like to certainly thank everyone for joining me today. Our next session on the 28th of October will be 100% focused on PaperCut Hive. It is the new cloud-native platform from PaperCut, and I'll have Kevin Simon as my guest to demo the product and discuss it. Kevin is one of our solutions architects that works heavily with me on the pre-sale side of the house, and so we look forward to definitely having Kevin on. If you get a chance, jump on and register for that session as well. All of our future sessions on the second Thursday of every month will cover different topics from ACDI's portfolio, things like KPAX, storyboard, hardware, professional services, and we'll have several different guests on as well during those time frames. Thank you everyone again, and have a wonderful rest of the day.